Well, good morning, everybody. This is Dr. Tom Schlueter with today's Tom's Take. There has been a passage that has been rummaging around in my brain and in my spirit for the last couple of weeks. I've already commented on it briefly in one of my previous posts, but I can't shake it. Matter of fact, I was looking up this passage. I'm not going to tell you where it is yet. And I finally found some reference in the Message Bible using this passage, but I want to quote it in context, okay? I'm going to do a little bit of a mysterious thing here tonight. Let me read to you from the Message. Just take a look at Zion, will you? Centering our worship in festival feast. Feast your eyes on Jerusalem, quiet and permanent place to live. Focus on permanent. No more pulling up stakes and moving on. No more patched together lean-tos. Instead, God. God majestic. God Himself, the place in a country of broad rivers and streams. But rivers blocked to invading ships, off limits to predatory pirates. For God makes all the decisions here. God is our King. God runs this place, and He'll keep us safe. I'm still not going to give you the passage yet, but you can tell that there is a rejoicing there in that passage that they're not having to be intense anymore, not rummaging around, not putting a stake down and then later having to move to someplace else. They're in a permanent place. Zion, they're in a permanent place. And they are in a protected place that is watched over by God Almighty. That He is the one that protects them and watches over them, keeping them safe, making sure that nobody can intrude upon them. What joy is in their spirits as they ponder this marvelous news that they no longer have to wander. God has established a permanent place for them. What passage is this? Well, it's Isaiah 33, and I read from verses 20 through 22 in the Message. The Message is making it very clear, if you read of all of Isaiah 33, that the prophet is extremely happy that God is the king. Oh, wait a minute. God is the ruler, and God is the judge. And He has established a strong, permanent place of residence in our midst. Now, we could be talking about Zion, or we could be talking about our own hearts, or we could be talking about our nation or our state or the town that we live in. Because God is saying, I am your king and your ruler and your judge, and I will keep you safe. Familiar passage now, isn't it? From Isaiah 33:22. As I shared on this in a previous post, the Lord had revealed to me that that passage was the very structure of the three branches of government that run our constitutional republic: the executive, the legislative, and the judicial. I shared in the previous post that I believe the Lord made it very clear to me as well that even though these passages were used to establish Jerusalem and Zion, a place where God could keep them safe by being their king and their ruler and their judge, so He established that over our nation. And we, again, like I said, have the executive, the legislative, and the judicial branches of government. But then He went on and said, that is also the function of the government of our ecclesia. In other words, we are kings and priest. And God has given us the great privilege and responsibility of releasing His safety over us, His presence over us, by acting as kings and rulers and judges in the land in which He has planted us. You see, He is bringing forth His kingdom and His will on earth as it is in heaven. He is doing it in Jerusalem. What a marvelous way of seeing that this last weekend. He's doing the same in the government of our nation. It looks a little rusty right now, a little broken, especially in that legislative part. But God is the king and the ruler and the judge. And He is the one that has established this form of government. And He will keep us safe, and He will bring it into divine alignment with His will and His kingdom. And I believe with all of my heart that He will use the ecclesia to carry that out. You see, He wants us to execute decisions. I remember sharing this, and I actually shared it with Dutch Sheets last week. We had a short visit on it, but I shared with the fact that just like our president can sit down and do an executive order, so can we, because we are kings. Just like our legislature can create laws and structures, so can we, because we are rulers. And just as we can be the final judgment on certain issues, not based on your opinion and my opinion, but on God's opinion, on God's revelation, which goes true for all of these three branches of ecclesia government in us. God is the one that releases revelation about what we need to execute as far as a decree. He releases revelation to us as far as what we need to establish as His rules in the land. And He brings revelation to us as well about how to judge what is correct and what is not, what is light and what is darkness, what needs to be, sound familiar? What needs to be unlocked and what needs to be locked. He's given us the keys of justice. When we were in California, I was sharing this with my friend Tim Carkasden. Tim is on Clay Nash's call all the time. He ministers there in Shreveport, Louisiana. And Tim was rather fascinated by this revelation. And he said, well, what's really interesting is that when a president does an executive order, it only lasts as long as that president is around. Now, it could last longer if nobody changes it. But if the next president wants to change it, he can do his own executive or his or her own executive order, and it changes. That's what happened between the previous administration and President Trump's. There were things that he immediately said, no, those executive orders are now null and void, and I establish a new one. But they're only good for as long as he is president, unless the legislature, the rulers of the land, make it into a law. So we need to understand something here as the ecclesia. We can make a decree, but we can also establish it as the law of God in the land. Irrevocable, can't be changed, has to be fulfilled. What is written will come to pass, and we will be the ones with God's wisdom and God's revelation and God's timing to judge if those laws are carried out or not. Quite an amazing responsibilities He's given us as His sons and daughters. He's given us the ability to be kings and priests. He's given us the ability to execute, to legislate, and to judge. Wow. We are in a really powerful time right now. And if we're a little bit concerned about where our government is going in Washington, D.C., maybe we need to start acting like the government of God that He made us and begin to decree and to legislate and to judge based on the revelations that He gives to us as His praying ecclesia. Y'all have a blessed day and night, and I will be with you again tomorrow.